Everybody's ready from late weather forecast, and tonight I'm going to be doing a video on a Tropics update, and I will also be going through my updated hurricane season outlook. Late update because it's October 24th, so it's a late update, but better late than never for an update. So, without further ado, let's get started. And first, I'm going to start off with Epsilon here. Powerful hurricane at 972 millibars, and Category 1 hurricane at 80 miles per hour in wind speeds. And look at the wind field on this thing, massive, about 400 miles, I believe. It might be a little bit smaller now, but very huge wind field here. We can see extending out Bermuda's tropical storm force winds, and just a very interesting system. Was a major hurricane, by the way, and was our third major hurricane of the season. We came very close to having five, but we're at three, so it's would have been better to say if Paulette reached that major hurricane status after it passed Bermuda, but it did not. So yeah, whatever. But shift back here. What the real main interest now is 95L. So currently, center of circulation is around the Grand Cayman Island, and environmental conditions appear conducive for further development. And National Hurricane Center believes a tropical depression or a tropical storm will likely form in the next 48 hours. Very warm water temperatures. Here in the Caribbean, we can see water temperatures over 29 degrees Celsius here across the whole entire Caribbean basin, and even some and still 30 degrees Celsius in some places. So very warm still, these water temperatures. And when we take a look at the deep ocean heat content, very warm as well. Very high values. We can see all throughout the Caribbean spread out with these greens and yellows and reds. What do those mean? Well, those deep dark reds are some of your strongest anomalies in terms of deep ocean heat content. Well, not anomalies, just the number of what it actually is. But we can see in the Western Caribbean, those were even hotter. Those were off the charts, literally off the charts earlier in this, just about a couple weeks ago. Now, water temperatures are just like a degree cooler. They're not really all that cool. They're not cool at all. That's a bad way to phrase it. It's still really warm out there. And in the Eastern Caribbean, too, very favorable with high deep ocean heat content numbers. Anywhere where you see those light blues, those aqua colors, and even those darker, even a little bit darker shades of blue, just regular shades of blue, those are good amounts of deep ocean heat content, meaning that 26-degree isotherm in the water goes down a little bit, and it's not just at the surface, so it's able to tap into some of that warmer water under the surface, these storms, and really use it to their advantage. And 95L has been sitting over a plume of deep ocean heat content today, and that's why it's probably been able to get a little bit better organized today, as there wasn't really much around 24, 36 hours ago. We weren't really thinking much of this. It was just we saw the 10-20 go up 10% and 20% values for the next 2 days and 5 days, and we didn't really think much of it because we saw that just a couple days ago as well. But this thing is definitely taking the right steps in terms of development, and we could be looking at a strong tropical storm or hurricane potentially for Cuba in the next 3 to 5 days or so. So that's something you definitely need to watch out if you live in Cuba. It's not looking like Eastern Cuba is going to take the hit from this, but it can't be ruled out. But it's not looking like it right now. And then beyond that, we really need to watch out for Florida, as Florida could potentially be at risk here. So we're going to have to stay tuned for that. But I want to pull up the. Did not know we could. They had satellites images before here. This is the Hurricane Tracker app, by the way. I always recommend it that you get it because it is just a fantastic app. Let's go to the water vapor. You can see Epsilon in the top corner of your screen. Beautiful water vapor imagery. You can see the dry air wrapping around like an extratropical system a couple of days ago, which was really cool. It's just surrounded in dry air. It was amazing. And we can see, so yes, there's just plenty of moisture, it looks like now, in the atmosphere. Not a problem for sure. And we can see kind of where the water vapor is. So also you can kind of see where the convection is at the same time, where those uh, brighter colors of the water vapor are. So there was a lot more convection earlier, but we can see the the convection is wrapping around more and it's more spinny, and it looks just more spinny. Not a great scientific term, but it's more spinny for sure. And the outflow is fantastic right now. We can see that to the north as it's just spreading out. Outflow really good on both sides, even a little bit not as good on the south side, but still very good outflow from the system. You can see kind of the convection wrapping around a broad and almost closed circulation, if not closed, um, just near the Grand Cayman Island. So that's what we're looking at right now for 95L. But let's shift it ahead of time. Let's go out now. Let's go out, let's say 5 days. Let's go out 5 days. Look, this is a velocity potential anomaly map. So, in other words, the greens are favorable for hurricanes to develop, the reds, not so much. And I'm not going to go any further than that because go deep in science there. And many of you get bored with that very quickly, I find out. I try to talk to regular people about this stuff. They don't find it interesting. So let me try and put it simply. The greens, like I said, favorable. The reds, not so much. The darker the greens, the more favorable. The darker the reds, less favorable. That's the best way to put it. What we were looking at just a little while ago when we didn't have any hurricanes. Well, look at it. You can see all the reds covered in the Atlantic. Not much to go for in favorable. And now watch as 95L has started to develop. Look at the reds. They've gone away. So that's a good way for you to look at it, basically. And we can see the greens here just start to cover the Gulf of Mexico now and all the Caribbean. And then we can see them start to get darker and darker and darker and spread out more, get a little bit lighter. The colors do, but they don't always need to be dark for a strong hurricane or something to form necessarily. But you can see them spread out all across even much of the North Atlantic. They spread out. You can see here, and then look at that, covered by hours once we start getting in the 15 to 16 day time frame. So what this means is hurricane season is not over yet by a long shot, not by a long shot. So that's basically what it means. I'm looking at the potential for a very active November in terms of named storms and intensity of those storms as well. I think anything that does form in the Caribbean with conducive conditions for development could potentially become a significant hurricane. So we need to watch this very, very closely. Now, in terms of the rest of the season, before we do that, I would like to show you what we have so far. This is tropical.atmos.colostate.edu from CSU University, Colorado State, and they provide great hurricane research and great hurricane data and statistics. Dr. Philip Klotzbach and his team run a great research team over there, and they do a great and fantastic job. So, and they provide here a list, as we can see, of all the named storms, accumulated cyclonic energy, ACE, in other words, hurricane days, major hurricane days, named storm days, pressure in millibars, and wind speed in knots. And we can see all the named storms. We've had 26 of them this year. And they provide a great ACE map here, a great graph of how the ACE has progressed over the season. You can see early in the season, there was not a lot of ACE to go around, right? We take a look, August 19th, not a lot happening. Mid-hurricane season, we already had like 12 named storms at that point. We're averaging like 2 points of ACE per storm, not very much. And then like this, we get August 27th here, Laura happens. That's a big spike in the ACE. Marco and Laura happen, big spike in the ACE, and then we'll take a look here. Go to September 20th. Look at that. Sally, Paulette, Renee, Teddy, all those storms happen, and like lets the ACE go off the charts again. Delta happens, the ACE goes up, and Epsilon, our latest major hurricane to form, spikes the ace yet again. So it's a great way to track and monitor how active and how powerful the storms are in the Atlantic. So I love looking at this a little bit and comparing it to previous years. We're about 40 points above average right now. So we're skyrocketing in ace in terms of average right now. And on average, we'd have another 11 to 12 points of ace to go, but we know that's going to be, so basically we need to add 11 to 12 at least on to after Epsilon. It's going to be more than 11 to 12. I'm very confident in that. So this is, I just wanted to show you all the storms we've had and all the ace that's been accumulated this year, all the named storm days, record amount of named storm days, I think, or near record at least. I think we've had 88, 89 named storm days, which is ridiculous. So what? Get all the clutter out of the way. Here's my forecast for the rest of the season. 17 to 22 named storms was my original forecast. Now that was not high enough. Now I'm forecasting 29 to 32 named storms, 3 to 6 more named storms. We've had 26 so far, as I mentioned earlier, and we're going to hit the 30 benchmark. I can almost confidently say I think we're going to hit the 30 benchmark. May not, but I think we will. Hurricanes, I was pretty spot on with that. 8 to 13 was my forecast. We did not have a lot of hurricanes in the beginning of the season, and then September happened, and that ramped up pretty quickly. So my updated forecast is now 12 to 15. I think we'll have 2 to 5 more hurricanes. We've had 10 so far, double digits, which is, I think that's top 10 on record. I believe it's top 10 on record. Not sure about that, but I'm pretty sure it's top 10 on record for amount of hurricanes in a season. Major hurricanes, original forecast was 4 to 8, updated 4 to 7. I don't think we're going to have 5 more major hurricanes. That'd be a stretch. We've had 3 so far. We're not going to more than double that, I believe. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw 6. We could see 6 major hurricanes. I think it's a very decent possibility we could see 2, but I'm pretty confident that we'll see 1, though. I think we're going to see 1 more major hurricane. I wouldn't be surprised if we didn't at the same time, but I also wouldn't be surprised if we ended up with 5 or 6. So it goes both ways there. And for accumulated cyclonic energy, ACE, in other words, I was originally forecasting for 180 to 240. My updated forecast is now for 175 to 230. So I think we're going to have at least 40 more ACE points this year after Epsilon. So I think we're going to have at least 35 to 40 ace points after Epsilon and potentially more. It would be interesting. It would be cool to see that we hit the 200 ace benchmark without it impacting land. That would be cool to see, but it's just easier for there to be no storms, so we won't have to worry about that at all. So I hope we don't hit that, but the way November is looking, as I explained to you, it's looking really active. Maybe one of the more active Novembers on record, I think we could be looking at. So I guess it's more not so good news. I don't know how to put it. I wish I didn't have to keep forecasting this, but this season has exceeded expectations and has blown so many people away. We can't believe it. So many people thought we would never have another Greek storm here in a long time, and it's happened. So we have to say Mother Nature has really worked her tail off this year to piss us off. But yeah, that's going to do it for me. I hope you all have a wonderful weekend, and yeah.